All right, and TSM, they're going to be kicking off this series strong with a 13-5 victory over Winthrop on Fracture. Going into this, Vans, I mean, this is our first look at a lot of the teams going into this season. And for TSM, they got the core, but this is still a new roster. This is new IGL. And for a TSM that was plagued by a lot of troubles last year, things look good from the get-go.
They definitely look very promising. A same core, new raw or two new players, but looking very good. I think I agree to what Wyatt was mentioning before, where TSM looks a lot more explosive going into this game, but it almost looks like the macro style kind of like bit Winthrop University and nipped them in the butt in the sense that when they wanted to play Fracture nonstop here on their side, they used to play this with a Fade a lot before Teo came out. And now that Teo came in and they tried to implement it a bit, they weren't really using the same type of utility that would be their demise of like, how do you actually stop somebody down the line that has like an alt line, for example, with Sim? Usually with a Fade, you want to prowler in those spots. You want to try to maybe even just breach fault line in those areas or try to push him away in those certain spots where you could really lock down an area. And unfortunately, I haven't seen any of that really happening, and TSM just really had a much easier defensive side than they did against Winthrop on this map. So I gotta say, it's maybe something that made them take a step back, but at least like they had some moment of brilliance here and there with some nice shots individually.
And there was also a clear understanding for TSM and how they wanted to play these rounds, as the casters were saying, as you were saying, Van, of how explosive they wanted to be, and we saw it every single time. Even that round 3, that bonus that they got in the first half, it was the Rolling Thunder already available for 7, going in, Sim getting 2, and immediately just before the missiles helping out the cause, it was very well connected, and it's something that we saw every single round. They knew how to execute into these sides, and on the other side, it was a Winthrop that were trying to adapt. They were trying to play for these retakes, and nothing was really working out.
Yeah, it was game plans and coordination that was coming together, and then the players that were also just doing good. I mean, beforehand, we had talked about Simbi and someone, of course, be watching a lot in the series, and us three on the desk, otherwise, we're also still talking about Sim, but it was a really big step up from the rest of the team, too, that we really got to see. I don't think Sim played bad by any means here, Dan, but everyone really got a moment to shine, and being able to see the newcomers onto this team be able to lead the way, I thought was really cool.
Sim, I feel like he did exactly what he had to do. I mean, how many times did you see him satcheling in and getting traded? It was more often than not. So, yeah, sometimes he'll get 1 or 2 into these rounds. Sometimes he was just getting traded. And it doesn't matter because the team was still knowing how to capitalize out of it, especially Vora, right? That was the topic of conversation that we had. Vora doing so well. 7 as well in this initiator role, kind of being the ones following after Sim is having these entries.
Yeah, definitely. If you're looking at it on the end when Infiltrator is at the top, I think that was their issue too, where as you mentioned here, Dendrite, yes, Sim is able to find that space because he has good utility around by having to breach in Teo. But then on your attack side for Winthrop, if you're not pushing 7 away from the op line, or you're not creating that space with the salvos or the fault line so that Infiltrator could satchel in those right spots. I mean, they had like at some point a nice idea of fighting back towards the spawn from heaven, but then really not being able to get into good positions right after that. So, I mean, on paper, it looks pretty good, the ideas of what they're trying to bring, but to try to execute it to make sure that it's the most pristine round from beginning to end of what you're trying to write up and how to adapt on certain situations when you start losing players. That's where it was starting to fall behind as well from Winthrop. So overall, I'm still impressed by Winthrop University, but if not even more by TSM with the addition of Vora and Recoil in this roster, especially that you see them on the top of the scoreboard in terms of fragging, but also assisting around the team to making sure that TSM is able to move in as a group. Because a lot of these moments, you know, Recoil was in with the team playing post plants and not necessarily playing, fall back, watching flanks and stuff like that, because that's more on Vora's responsibility when they're trying to delay the spike plant or defuse rather.
Yeah, one thing that I'm not really convinced of that we've seen just a little bit before for other regions. I was looking at Pacific playing this chamber on the map. It's not really getting a lot of value for moves. He was trying to go into these aggressive positions, trying to back up, trying to get that info for the team, but more often than not, he was just backing up into the aggressive style the TSM was bringing to them to take the side control. So it was not really good, but something that was really good. And the reason why Moves was having so much trouble was Vora. We had the questions about this player, a lot of promises on what he was going to be able to do on the IGLing role, but now I'm not only happy to see him IGLing, but I'm happy to see him on this Tejo and on this team. He was insane. He was at the very top.
I mean, there was the one round too where I think it was Uber that was like, how did Vora get this 3K? And I think Vora, like, when you're looking at someone who's being brought into the team, having to then all of a sudden IGL this core, that team that, of course, I mean, there's experienced players on here, and you're the outlier in that, to not only be IGLing, but to be putting up the performance that he did, I think is just wholeheartedly impressive. So that is something that I'm already so excited about this TSM roster just from this little look. So that'll be, I think, just a fantastic thing. And I think Vans, even just earlier on in the game, looking back at round 7, it was already like okay, hey, wait a second, TSM, like, you're cooking over here.
100%. I think Vora, in terms of, you know, what I said before the game, he had to have a lot of pressure to try to build a new system with him being the newcomer in the team. But also in the mid rounding was actually quite cool. You're going into this 3-on-3 in this scenario right here where, you know, they've already lost their smokes. They're trying to move into the site because GMD is like so far from the action, is already pushing out towards the spawn. So to see the calls of what Voro's trying to bring here for the team, 7 I think was the one that planted the spike. He's already super low on HP, so he's like, okay, well, just plant it to a spot where we could play a good delay enough so that GMD could rotate back from an area after he wins this 1v1 versus moves towards that spawn. But as you sacrifice yourself as 7 as the planner, Vora's running away here with the salvo so that he could actually delay long enough again, for 1, for GMD to get into a good spot, and 2, getting the salvos out so they flush him out in the open where they have nowhere to hide from and set up a double crossfire setup. So just that in itself just shows to me the heads up play that Vora could come up with on the spot. You know, why I talked about it. VLR is talking about it being a ranked demon, but on top of that, being able to IGL, call some good stuff like that, and to already bring synergy for a TSM team, dude, this is looking very, very promising for TSM.
I mean, VLR and Twitch chat are just going nuts about Vora, and I mean, you never want to say that Twitch chat is right about something, because then you'll never hear the end of it, but they're kind of been right about Vora so far, so I'll have to see how it continues going on in this series. And the next map, looking at Bind. And when we had talked about Fractures, the first map in the series, then we talked about Bind and kind of similar, so I'm kind of curious what the teams are thinking of in terms of composition for our next map.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit. Maybe the possibility that Tejo played on this map, but the last time that Winthrop University they played this, it was slightly different. They were playing Deadlock as that Sentinel and playing with the Sky as that initiator. So everything else with the Brimstone and the Viper was staying the same. I wonder if they're gonna bring any changes. I mean, when they played this, it was against Fun Havers for that qualifier, so not that long ago. I'm more interested to see what TSM is gonna do. 7 on the get-go is a possibility, but it seems like teams are opting for other kinds of initiators. I mean, just this week we saw Energy playing with the KO, and that being very, very disruptive against his get-go compositions, and a lot of teams getting caught off guard. And we know these teams, they're constantly screaming against the very top, against the tier 1. So that is something that I'm interesting to see. It could be honestly anything.
I mean, when you're excited about seeing potential 7 Gecko, specifically Bind, that you were talking about earlier. So I think regardless with the confidence, what they decide to lock in, TSM is looking good so far. And all right, Dan, first impressions. I'm not seeing Gecko, but a lot of other good stuff.
Yeah, look, I see Tejo, and I'm happy on the side of TSM. I mentioned it was, if we see a map 1, chances are we're going to see a map 2. But the Deadlock is what is very interesting to me. We're going to be seeing on both sides. Moves is going to be, seems like, playing more of the Sentinel role, Van. So, I don't know. What do you make of this?
I think the compositional side for Winthrop University definitely has a good upper hand against TSM here, just by the stall in itself. If you're trying to be explosive with Tejo and Breach composition and trying to get your raise in, but you're stopped by a Brim Smoke, a Viper Molly, a Viper Wall, a Deadlock Wall, Paint Shells, it's just going to be so good for Winthrop University to stop the pushes in different phases that really will blow away the smokes that are being dropped in the execution. So for TSM's game plan here on the attack, they have to make sure here that they potentially default a little bit more so they could bait out this utility. If not, it's going to be so difficult for them to be explosive.
I mean, hey, after that first map in the series, I'm all aboard the Vora train and being able to be able to properly stall out Winthrop. And for TSM to be the ones picking the map in this series, I don't know. I'm all aboard on this. I would be excited to see Winthrop make this comeback here, though. So, hey, we'll see how this one shakes up. First series of Challengers. It has been so great so far, and now it's time to get started. Back over to your casters, Uber and Wyatt.
Thank you very much, Sierra, and our friends on the disc. What an interesting comp here for TSM Wyatt. This is the first time that we've seen them play this comp. I think, previously they were still on like the pretty standard Viper and Sky setup, but now they're fully on board with the Bridge Tejo looks and still have the Deadlock in the mix here. So I'm very curious to see how this plays out.
Yeah, this was always, especially towards the end of last year, at Ascension and during that playoff run to get to Ascension, Bind was their home map. It was their go-to. They were one of the teams that were integrating the Deadlock early on this map. Most of the other teams, there was obviously we were seeing a ton of it on Ascent and Challengers, but on Bind, TSM were the team doing it the most. And we're still seeing it here and there. The Breach Teo, though, I can definitely see some struggles for Winthrop when the sides swap, but on attack, we'll have to see what they can do. You know, it'll be good for taking areas like Lamps and Hookah. Winthrop want to fight early, but they back off.
Pretty handy from Nasty there as we saw an early dink for TSM. Recoil's about to have their hands full here. Nasty, okay, with a ghost. You're trying that. Okay, Recoil just springs forward and goes for a bit of spam down. Maybe doesn't expect to be running into 3 players, and now Mon has to pick up the pieces. Side is smoked off, essentially, so there is obviously opportunity for a plant here should TSM fancy, but they know there's so much util to wade through before they can even get to that point.
Yeah, this is going to be so tough. They wanted to get into the site fast because they knew everyone was in showers. So just smoke it off, get the spike down. 7 gets a nice spam kill. Vorta's going to have to go crazy here in Lamps.
There's no way this is going to work for TSM. Surely, come on. What? He crouches it and actually takes Flare out of the game. It is up to Jerk. Gimon also got damaged a little bit by the molly that went out onto the site. TSM in a 3v5. Able to get a post plant. Jerk, though, with a bit of armor to work with now. Vora's ready for it. Oh, that's not a pistol. You can let fall like that. TSM get on the board first again. That's 3 out of 4 pistols in this series.
And again, they continue to win a number of rounds where they're at the man disadvantage. That's really been Winthrop's undoing. It was a good fight in showers, tripled up. TSM, I like that fast pivot to get into sight, but from there, Winthrop need to all be retaking together at the same time. The Jerk was just too far away. Unfortunately, there was a spam kill, but it's complete disarray when they're trying to get back into the site. They're just not grouped up together properly, fighting together. Really unfortunate.
Oops is pushed down so far. Got it out though. Timon is ready for that push up there on A-Short. Oops, really wants to keep going with this, and okay. Able to find 2 with the Sheriff. Great opener. TSM don't have that double controller look to work with here. So they don't have anything set up on that A site. Clearly, that's what gives Winthrop a bit of confidence in pushing up. Throwing caution to the winds.
Yeah, Moob's using that age-old maneuver. Oh my god, Sim. Nice little tap, just falls back. Playing in front of your wall to catch people off is what he did. Jerk wants to fight forward, almost had the timing.
Like butter, baby.
I just know. I mean, we saw the satchel come out there from Sin the Blast Pack because he was expecting someone to try and drop out of Hookah and follow up on that kill. Knew there'd be 2 players set up there. Recoil just flattens Narcy and Flare. 1 shot each is all it takes, and that is, all things considered, a pretty clean anti-eco after Moobs took 2 with the Sheriff.
And again, TSM at a man disadvantage, and they still win the round. Winthrop, after finding the Moobs with the great shots with the Sheriff, was able to take a fight against one of the players with a pistol as well. Vora just not the optimal weapon for the trade. But it's just this timing jumping out before the wall. It was a little awkward, but also could have just doubled up Hookah.
You gotta hit him with the old sit nade, you know what I mean? Jerk. Stuck crouched on that corner. Couldn't have gone worse for him. TSM getting good value out of this Deadlock util so far on the attack side. Of course, now into the bonus, they still have this Outlaw. 2 players where it's instantly lethal on Winthrop's side. There's going to be an aftershock thrown in now towards the side. Gimon getting serious about it. It's nasty. Set up over towards Triple. Looks like he just got blown away. And Rico drinks a pick from a shower. 7 steps up. Looked like he had the baby iPad out. And ends up getting punished as a result here. But a bonus one like this is just... This is brutal stuff for Winthrop.
That's a vile shot from Vora. This guy is definitely living up to the Wraith Demon hype.
Last player standing.
But honestly, Rank Demon comes in at IGLs of this team, and they look super clean in these mid rounds. Jerk takes a hit from that Outlaw, and there's no way they're getting forward now with those salvos going off. Frankly, Jerk might be incentivized just to try and get out here. There's still a deadlock wall in the way. That now dissipates. Elsewhere, Burger Boys and Shopify Rebellion Black going all the way to the wire. Looks like that one's headed for overtime. TSM, very nicely done. Conversion here on this bonus round. Looking to see if there's an upgrade for that Bulldog, and there is. Gimon walks away with a Vandal.
That's the additional snowball from winning that bonus round. If you, oh, well, never mind. The snowball has immediately melted on the floor. They can't save a thing. Oh, they have the Outlaw, which you're happy to carry over into another round here.
Well, especially one that's, you know, going to be like a half-bought round. But
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I'm just saying, it's about, you know, 5.8k credits that just got blown to smithereens there.
You do hate to see that. It's frustrating, though, for Winthrop on this round. If they want to do something proactive and fight forward, you have to be worried that you're just going to walk right into the Outlaw scope. And due to that, they don't opt to do much but you gather up and try and lay a trap if TSM fight forward in showers.
Sees the, oh, he sees the shoulder. The fault line is perfect. Oh, buddy. A proper extinction event there for Winthrop as they feed themselves into the wood chipper of showers.
And
now
why
TSM
not?
can just spread on the A side.
So why not just grab the orb, get a little showstopper as well for the next buy round. The snowball is beginning to form once again.
I mean, economically, even with TSM kind of lighting money on fire and throwing it to appease whatever god they believe in, they still in such a comfortable spot. Recall there, goes for the grab net. Jerk will be able to punish the fact that util was in the hand of the TSM player. But you have to walk away. You've got a Vandal to hand for Jerk, and you likely want to keep it.
Looks like Moobs wants to peek. A little bit of greed.
I mean, keep a cap on that economy. I see it. Sim can just go through the TP and walk off the sides like TSM could have done last round. And that will be another round on the board for here for TSM. Everyone can buy on the side of Winthrop, and Jerk kept the rifle, so it should be relatively powerful coming into round 5.
And unfortunately, the economy, it is uncapped. The cash is spilling out of the pot. They have enough to buy for the next few rounds, at least. Just dismantled by one fault line. That is the difficulty of playing against the breach. I mean, we don't see him a ton on bind, but there are a lot of positions where that stun is so effective. Fighting in shower, fighting in lamps, fighting B long.
Actually, Sim gets 2 kills before the fault line even comes in. That's the worst part of that for Winthrop. Now this time, though, Jerk going to be jump spotting his way down Bilong. And there is a sonic sensor to play off of here. One also set up in towards hookah. And a late wall thrown up, so that's going to be there for another 30 seconds or so.
Oh my god!
Straight away, Sim going to make his way through. Stun up briefly, and there's a molly into the back corner. Those sonic sensors are going up, though, snarling up Sim as he tries to walk across the site. Showstopper is done with now. But it's going to be a free plant here for TSM.
I mean, Sim is just so mental with his shots, man. The amount of first engagements he takes, that tap was crazy. Fighting forward now with GMD, trying to stop them in the choke here after that smoke dissipates.
Well, Wyatt, it's either Sim or his alter ego Miss. And I mean that in both senses of the term. Today we got Sim. Trying to work way up the elbow is nasty and infiltrator. Recall able to find the one. This is getting a little bit hairier now, but TSM still have the side coverage. Flare has to swing into it. Actually wins it out, but time not there. No opportunity for a defuse. And frankly, TSM don't care much. They've got enough money that a messy post plant like that isn't really going to hurt them right now.
Now, what the hell was that transfer? Both teams, despite Winthrop being down by quite a bit and losing map 1, their players can definitely shoot. We've seen that. But so can Sim. That initial tap on the Viper jump spot and then immediately, oh, bet. The Viper's dead? All right, we can just run into sight. We're not going to get mollied. You know, they have to deal a little bit with the deadlock, but the showstopper nullifies that. just creates all of the space. Like back on map 1, Sim took 10 first engagements. He was 4 and 6, but listen, I will tell you, trying to entry as a duelist when you're playing against Tejo Breach is abysmal. You get farmed, and it relies on your team to trade you out and pick up the slack, which they did. But here, you know, Sim is getting some cleaner fights, and he is the truest feast or famine player.
Absolutely. I mean, it really is unfortunate the way his name is spelled backwards. But when he walks out onto that site, he has to showstopper out, so he eats up all that deadlock util.
Did you get that from Reddit or something? Or did you just come up with that on the fly?
No, I lucked into it, actually. I lucked into it.
You just lucked into it?
What is his name backwards?
No.
And I'm like, oh, that's really good.
Yeah, so I was going to say, that is good.
Sometimes why...
No, we're running with that, I'll be honest.
You get gifted a heater, you know what I mean?
We're running with that. Together. All right, out of the timeout, Winthrop, what is the plan? They have ultimates that are great at finding kills. Maybe that can turn the tide on an eco round. Maybe the hero rifle can for Flare.
Check B long here. That was a guiding light sent down there. Winthrop hoping for a bit of an early fight there, but not going to get one.
Yeah, 2 heroes. I didn't notice the Churk had a rifle too. So honestly, all things considered, this isn't the worst buy for Winthrop.
See what moves can do with a sheriff as well. Done that over the last couple of years in challenges. Flare with a pretty aggressive line here. Sky Smoke, they are obnoxiously long-lived, those Brim Smokes, as Sim is now being reminded. Little jump peaks to try and see, as TSM are very much invested in a methodical push towards A, and Flare just, well, gets caught out as he tries to go for those jump peaks now. Sim wants to move up, and again, just as you said, Wyatt, trying to execute into that util is a bit of a pain in the neck to deal with, but that was his own teammate's util, so we'll let the one pass us by as if we're trying to take a little swing. Gets value off the stinger. He was looking for a little bit more there. I appreciate the moxie that he has. And that's now going to be a 4v2 setup at Jerk inside heaven with nothing to look at here as all of TSM in their hidey holes.
Nasa just trying to find a kill, walking forward, caught out by Sim, transferred to heaven, Jerk spotted out, weak, on the run, and dismantled. Bro,
this is dirty.
When Sim starts playing like this, I mean, TSM are already looking good today, but then when he gives you the I will find every kill on my first engagement type map, it's over. Like, there are so many instances where we've seen a best of 3 where Sim goes 10 for 20 on map 1, loses more first duels than he wins, and then the second map he just gives you a 30 bomb, entries every single round. What are you supposed to do when he's so swift with every first bullet? That's exactly why he was on the radar for tier 1 teams. There was a chance he was going to be on EG. They didn't end up taking the shot. They went for Icy, who's a bit more experienced in tier 1, having played with G2. But there's a reason that Sim was a serious consideration. Like, he is a weapon. He just has to be used in the proper ways.
And that punish at the start of the round. I don't think Flare knew what hit him. Sim is trending that way again. Actually waylaid by that Brim Smoke, but it's not in the one-way position. He got up. Fault line, trying to get across with the blast pack, and he does. Oh, and he wins it out too. Swings on moves. Infiltrator, well, you got caught in the crouch net, plus the orbital strike combination. So that is a free kill for Kimon. Beautifully set up, and of course, we have a deadlock wall at the back of the site, which Sim is just brutally exploiting. It's another 3K. The guy is absolutely popping off. Can't make it 4, but Jerk has way too much to do and not enough money to risk it.
Absolutely nasty from Sim. What can you even say, man? It's a casket match, and he's hit the super kick right onto Winthrop. Just close the thing and get it over with, man. I mean, this is brutal. When he is on form like this, there really is no team that can stop this man.
It's just a beautiful opener. Honestly, Wyatt threw a ton of utility as well from the defense side. A blast pack to get him in, to take the fight so quickly against the deadlock. There was a fault line, I think, that was, again, being used to set him up. But there's so much. One wrong step, I think, for Sim, and he just steps straight into a fault line.
By the way, did he get this kill while stunned? Yep. I mean, cosmetic item, by the way. Stuns aren't real. It's so I'm a little bit speechless at this point. Like, what more can you say? This TSM comp as well, it is just lovely how everything syncs up so well. The grav nets into the salvos, fault lines into salvos, all of that utility is just so good together.
Oh, this is pretty scary stuff. A big push up here from Winthrop. They're really trying to take the game into their own hands, but Seven plants his feet. You've got to get up pretty early in the morning if you want to get better. Get the better of Seven in a situation like that. Jerk somehow wins it out with the stinger. Probably not supposed to happen, but Seven again will have his. Putting Nasi solo on that A side of the map, allowing for Seven to move into B and plant.
Fires off the Seekers as he rotates through spawn. We've seen a couple ultimates in the last couple rounds that really scream desperation from Winthrop, like Infiltrator popping his showstopper while he was caught. Like, they are feeling the pressure of being down by such a significant margin. They're going for whatever they can, but it might just cause things to spiral further out of control.
Well, pick your poison, Wyatt. Whichever side of that util barrage you are on, you're getting caught. Here we go. Another grab net for Nasi. Able to walk and dodge that, definitely. Flashpoint. And that one will finally be enough. This is brutal. Pull one out for your Winthrop homies, folks, as TSM have the 8-0 lead.
I can certainly see why they picked this map. I mean, they've taken that deadlock that they ran with much success with last year at the end of 2024, and they've just built upon it by throwing the Tejo and the Breach in the mix.
And they look at, they've got these massive util-focused ultimates to work with again. Sim can go in with another showstopper. 14 kills, 8 rounds, by the way. Disgusting. Jerk obviously wants to play inside this Viper's pit at A short. Going to set that up off the rip.
TSM, they have, if they want, they can use that stealth drone to try and locate Jerk. Maybe even use the Annihilation just to get the kill on him. Oh, gets caught close. Oh my god, he's in trouble.
And that pit is gone. That pit is gone! The showstopper connects. Jerk is down, and so down comes the Viper's pit. TSM able to get out of there after unraveling that Viper ultimate, and Gimon is happy to take the fight against Flare. Again, the Brim for Winthrop losing out over that ace short side of the map. And you've got 3 players who are thinly spread on the defense side. It's TSM, cut noise.
You can really feel the desperation coming from this Winthrop team. You know, I can't be mad at Flare for throwing out the ultimate with the Gravnet combo, but then just trying to swing for more. So hungry to try and even the disadvantage.
The noise cut is brutal, Wyatt. It drags a player off of this A site for Winthrop, leaves Infiltrator solo in the site. Fault line, decent spot, recoil.
30 seconds left.
Clean with it.
Off the jump peak.
Yeah.
I mean, this TSM team, they're making a fan out of me. I'm going to be honest.
I'm feeling it. Nasi just doesn't have the crosshair placement to win that fight out. Not against Sim. Not on a day like today. Boob's able to avoid the concussive grenade. And, well, everybody wants a piece of the action, apparently. It is a 4-gun salute for Moobs. Paint shells exploding at their feet, and recoil will finish the job. This is an utter flattening by TSM.
I've never seen a team as two-dimensional as Winthrop right now.
They are Paper Mario up in this biz.
You truly hate to see it. And they're just at this point regretting having tried to force so many ultimates in prior rounds that when they are on the big buy with the economy and the balance, hanging in the balance, and they've got none of them left, it's just pure pain. But I mean, frankly, I'd like to focus more on how goddamn sick this TSM team are looking right now. I'm really blown away.
Filthy stuff. Absolutely filthy. Winthrop here. No key ultimates, but still weapons brought into this round. And this is definitely a risky one. We've got no armor for Flare. Full glass cannon. Light armor on the rest. Pretty low on the util as well. TSM has slowed the pace down. Again, this time towards the B side. No presence in Octagon here for the defenders though. For Jerk, not much you can do about that. All of Winthrop are pulled back onto the B side. Okay. Trailblazer here to follow up on that molly. Grab net from both sides. Ooh, okay, paint shells. Jerk's able to hold his ground though. Sim is down. Bit of damage. Nasty trying to heal that up quickly, but Kimon's going to be on the swing here. Nasty at 25. No one left to heal. No one left to back him up. And again, Winthrop get their heads bloody knocked together.
Every player on TSM is shooting, man. And it just has to get traded. 4 versus 2. Multiple players with 0 credits remaining for Winthrop. And we might just be seeing the most excruciating save you could possibly witness in the game of Valorant.
Oh, man. They're doing it. They are out there. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. It's getting so bad. People are adding GamerDoc in the chat. Oh, my goodness. This will be a 10-round lead for TSM. Generational wealth. Top 1% type beat. And Infiltrator and Flare just clutching their pearls and their vandals. Trying to stay alive in this round. I mean, Winthrop, in fairness, not their map pick. Okay. But they played it. We've seen them bind before. It looks decent. This TSM team are very, very sharp.
Winthrop have been grinding as well. You know, in the Challengers offseason, they are playing every tournament. They had to grind to get into Challengers as well. They had to go through the qualification process. And TSM are making the lightest work of them. Consider as well, you know, if you weren't here for the pre-show, or if you're not aware, the format of Challengers this year is different. It's a full Swiss system, and every loss is far more impactful than it was in 2024. You have less opportunities if you're losing. Every match really counts.
Okay, dude, really? Attempted challenge crunch here from Jerk, but Flare and Infiltrator have already bitten the dust. Jerk catches recall now, see with a crouch down at 4. Nasty's just walked up for an appendectomy, free of charge.
Sorry, bro, the door's closed, but
it's a shut door.
I respect that he's locked in. He's
homie's thinking it's fractured, you know? Okay, let us calm ourselves for a moment. As Jerk is sat inside the TP, doors opening and closing like the gnashing and wailing teeth of Winthrop fans.
How many kills does this guy have? How many first kills does he have?
Oh, that's a good question.
It must be at least 5 at this point, maybe 6.
No escape.
Yeah, we'll have our team of the best and brightest on our desk and Van Silly to look into it. Here's Moobs.
That's messed up.
Here's Moobs. And there goes Moobs. It's 11-0. Man, talk about a ball breaker, Wyatt.
Head in hands for me watching this.
20 kills, 11 rounds. Oh, okay. Bro, Vora literally on the proverbial palanquin. 3 kills, 4 deaths. Absolutely being chill in this game.
Just having a nice time calling. Just taking his time, IGLing, doesn't really need to do much killing. Honestly, impressed by Vora's Simgo kill strat. Really intelligent upcoming IGL. Love that from him.
Yeah, honestly, the brightest minds could never. And he's just spun that strategy on a dime. Little blast pack play into showers for that round. Sim gets there quickly, but there's some util in the way. What is happening here? Winthrop are ebbing and flowing at the back of the A side here. Unsure about where they're supposed to allocate these B players towards. I mean, there's just uncertainty. These guys are really unsure of what TSM is throwing at them. They have not been able to distill the essence of TSM's game plan on this attack side at all.
No, they're really living in fear, trying to fight for some of these close spaces because of how effective TSM's comp is at those ranges.
Okay, well, that Annihilation doesn't find any connection. Unluckily for Moobs. TSM moving up. Sim, I think, saw a ping from that stealth drone through the smoke. It's going to be Moobs at least taking one, but Vora now getting busy. Buster heard me. Jerk to the site, and somehow the judge at that range doesn't kill 7.
Spike planted.
Literally has the blessing of the Pantheon upon him this round. Alive at 14 after getting that plant down. Moobs has had to fight tooth and nail in this round, and they've gotten 3 frags in order to do so. They've been a standout in this map for Winthrop. And now they're going to have to be the only one to stand up. Have 4 kills. The defuse unlikely now. Skimona's able to molly it off and move. What a transfer! What a correction from Moobs! That is wild.
And we've done it.
I cannot believe
We've done it, Winthrop. We made it. We're not getting 13-0'd.
An ace clutch. Nobody wins 12 rounds in a row against Winthrop University. That's for sure.
Switching sides.
Thank God. You really don't want to get 13-0'd in the Challengers debut. you want to avoid that. Thank God for moves.
And honestly, it's pretty clean. Very nicely done. And come on here, maybe a little early off the molly. But Moobs is ready for it. Great little vertical correction of aim. And now we head into the second half. What may be a rather short-lived second half. But this is... I don't want to say it, but Winthrop would best be winning this pistol. Otherwise, they're hitting the showers early.
Yeah, that's a fair analytical point. Though I have a feeling they're about to turn into a juicy little snack for TSM in short. Look at their setup with all the pole line with the Teo and the nade as well.
Damn, this is clean. Infiltrating gets into the site. More of that can be able to take Flare out. Yet the setup, Wyatt, gives him such equity in this matchup.
It's too good. Oh my God. I mean, it just to end it. It's brutal. I can't see any. I can't watch anymore, man.
Dr. Kevorkian was onto something. That's what I'm saying. Winthrop are struggling here. Probably starting to think about their next matchup already. Nasty, though, again, keeps him in the game. Moves would have been the savior. And they know where Nasty is. Stand up and shower. Great little self-flash. The guiding light gets him out, but 7 will take him down. Pistol won by TSM, and Winthrop will be forcing as long as they can.
We're not going to get to see much of it, if I had to guess, but perhaps in the future, we will see more of what TSM have in store for the defense on this map, because there are a number of options as far as setting up trap plays, just like this, on short, nullifying a team trying to go up long, instilling the fear of God in attackers when they tap an orb that they're about to be grab net, fault line, aftershock, molly missiled. Like, it's so overwhelming.
Winthrop tried to come in with a bit of a setup. We got to see at the start of that round. It looked pretty good. But again, they were shut down pretty handily by TSM's defense. Oh my God, Sim!
Down A.
That is unspeakably disgusting. He is just better.
It's going to be a long walk back to the locker room. Like you said, it's time to hit the showers, boys. I think this one's a done deal.
Bora here just able to clear lamps, but they're going to be ready for Moobs, who is sat there with nothing with a sheriff to help him. Flare caught in the grab net. Recoil. Checks that spot, but only has a judge to work with, dropping Flare low enough to be a easy snack here for TSM, like you put it. A 12-round, well, I mean 13-1, a 12-round lead at the end of the game here. That was pretty gross. TSM are the real deal, and Winthrop, after having to fight back into challenges after being relegated, tell you what, they get served up a sour persimmon in their first game in the circuit again.
I am very excited to see more of this TSM squad, and with the way that the format is working, they're going to move on to play against another one of the teams that is going to get a win here for their first match, now that we're in this Swiss system, which is very cool. I'm a big fan. And Winthrop, sadly, they're already in the 0-1 bracket. The pressure is on them. The matches matter so much throughout the season now. Damn, though. Sim, TSM, pretty nuts.
Pretty good.
I would love to see how many first kills he got in that game. Crazy.
He has to have had 2 kills around, I think. Yeah, we'll check the stats. Of course, our desk will be breaking things down after this short break. Stick around, of course, more challenges to come today. Your first match, though, is over in a flash. It's TSM looking dominant. Let's see if they can keep it up for the whole season. We'll see you after the break.
It wasn't even an hour and a half.
Yeah.